Good evening. My name is Sierra Calhoun, and I'm here to show you my EDU 620 final project. So here is my Weebly website homepage. The URL is ballbiobosses.weebly.com. And then you click here for the final project. So I have labeled it EDU 620 final project, and this project will be focused on genetics. The standard and objectives is SB3B, which is our hereditary genetics standard, where you use mathematical models to predict and explain patterns of inheritance. This is taken strictly off of the Georgia Department of Education biology standards. Our objectives include students will use models such as Punnett squares to show potential genetic crosses between parents, and this is meant for ninth grade. You can click this Google Docs link here in order to access my lesson plan. So that will open here. You can see my lesson plan. If you click on the Miss Calhoun Bitmoji, you can click here in order to see the syllabus. My syllabus has listed out my student objectives, the assessment plan, remediation plan, and grading, which students will be graded on their genetics Nearpod, Quizlet, Kahoot, Quiz-Is, GimKit, and the online quiz for a total of 120 available points. So students will click each link in order to receive full credit for each assignment in the project. And the link will take students to a specific genetics task that must be completed in order to receive full credit. So for my first instructional video, I had students should complete the Mendel Genetics Nearpod, and this is a graded assignment. So if I was to click on the Nearpod link, okay, no, I don't want to sign up. I have an account. I want to open this in Nearpod so I can actually complete this lesson. Okay, I'm just going to join as a guest. Okay, and here is my instructional video. Students will click through in order to complete the video, and there are questions embedded throughout the Nearpod for students to answer. It's not going to allow me to skip it because I have it set that way for the student restrictions. As you can see, I can't move along, but there are questions that are set up here for the instructional video to help explain how to use monohybrid crosses for students. Returning back to the Weebly final project page. I wrote a note here for students to complete the quiz after they've done the instructional video, reviewed the resources in the curation tool, and completed the Nearpod and the 4 tools, because I kind of want this to count as a final to make sure that they understand the material. But this is my listed quiz. It includes several multiple choice questions. I set it up into different parts. So if you were to click next, which it's not gonna let me do because I didn't answer any questions. But if I randomly select answers, let's see, it will let me see the rest. Can I answer everything? Oh, no, this one. It will take me to the next part of my quiz. So I also have some questions where you can select specific answers instead, well, more than one answer, I'm sorry. It's checklist questions. So homozygous genotypes, select so on and so forth. I'm just gonna randomly click here so I can go on. And then my last set of questions is going to include short answer questions. So I want students to answer the questions on this genetics quiz after they have completed everything else on the page. So for my curation tool, I chose to use a Padlet. And let's see here on the Padlet, I have the standards, essential questions, and vocabulary, in addition to some helpful diagrams and videos and practice assignments that students can work on to help them with their foundation for genetics. For my instructional presentation, I chose to use a Prezi. Good evening, class. My name is Sierra Calhoun, and this is over the genetics vocabulary. I'm just going to fast forward it through, but I actually recorded my voice on the Prezi so students can have this resource and play it back as many times as necessary to give them another review of genetics vocabulary and how to set up a Punnett square, which again was posted in the Nearpod, and it's also here on the Padlet for the students to get information on how to do that. As far as my interactive tools, students in biology have to take a Georgia Milestones EOC. So all of my Quizlets are in preparation to help students understand those terms that are needed for the EOC and then be able to apply them. So my first interactive tool I used was a Quizlet. If you click on the link for the Quizlet, it will take you to the Quizlet screen. On my directions, I said students needed to click the test button. And then I did my free test already. Well, you would click the test button, and once you have answered all the questions for test, then there is a button that will appear in the top right-hand corner that is going to tell you to print your test. And when students have those scores per the instructions, they are going to email that to me for full credit. And students will be able to retake this because I'll actually have a class there that will allow them to retake it. My second interactive tool was a Kahoot, and students are to sign in with their first and last name. So if they click the link here, it will take them to the Kahoot. That is also going to be on genetics. And it will take them directly through all of these questions that they are going to need. Yay, all right. My next interactive tool is quizzes, and I know Kahoot and quizzes are similar, but I like using quizzes because it doesn't limit the length of the questions. So I can start asking those DOK 3 and 4 questions, which is one of the reasons why I like to use both. I tend to use Kahoot for my level 1s and 2 questions, and I use quizzes for the level 3s and 4s to really gauge if a student is understanding the content. And that setup is just like the Kahoot setup. So again, you click the link, it will allow you to log right in. What I like about the setup for that quiz is that it has additional notes embedded into the quizzes. So unlike the Kahoot that just has the questions being answered, this quiz is actually gives them notes to kind of refer to before they actually take the questions, before they actually answer the questions. So I like being able to add in those slides as needed. And then the students also have a GIM kit where they can, again, click the link. It will take them right into the tool. And students have to earn $100,000 in order to complete this assignment. And once I go back and I look at my data, I'll be able to see how well students were able to grasp these concepts. But once the students get started, they can determine how much money they want for each question once they actually start earning amounts. And each one of these questions is directly related back to the standard. And once they have finished all 4 instructional tools, listened to the presentations, and completed the Nearpod, then students are supposed to complete the online quiz. And this is my final project. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed.